Joining me now is Democratic Senator Ben Cardin of Maryland. He's the ranking Democrat on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Senator, thank you so much for joining us. I want to start on Afghanistan. Is there any sort of winning strategy when it comes to Afghanistan?
Well, Katie, it's good to be with you. The president really needs to engage the regional partners. So I was pleased to hear him talk about Afghanistan and Pakistan and India all together. Pakistan needs to do more to contain its terrorist activities. India can play an important role. I was disappointed he didn't mention Russia, whose activities in Afghanistan are not helping the United States. A winning strategy is to prevent Afghanistan from becoming a safe haven for terrorists, and that requires a diplomatic surge. We need to get all the players together to how we can get a circumstance in Afghanistan where they can control the safety in their own country. That's a winning strategy. It's not going to be achieved through American military presence. So I'm not in favor of a military surge.
So there's going to be, we think, potentially from the reporting, about 4,000 more troops sent. Diplomatic solution is the one that you're in favor of. Does that mean negotiating with warlords? We're negotiating with some of the more palatable leaders in the Taliban in order to find some sort of peace?
Oh, yes, it does. The Taliban have to be part of the peace process. Afghanistan is not going to be a country like the United States. It's not going to have a type of government that we have. It's got to be right for the people of Afghanistan. So we need to have the Taliban leaders at the table to talk about how the tribal areas will be handled, that'll be safe for the people who live there, but will not become vacuums where terrorist organizations can find safe havens. That's our objective, to end it as a breeding ground. We have no expectations that they'll develop a society similar to our Western democracy. What we want to do is make sure that they have a place where it's safe for their own people.
Senator, this is the third president to deal with Afghanistan. Does this mean that we are just always, for the foreseeable future, going to be having troops there?
Well, I am concerned about that. We know that American troops are still in South Korea. We don't want to see a situation where Afghanistan, there's a permanent American troop presence. So I am concerned about the president's decision to increase the number of troops in Afghanistan. I really do believe the way to solve this problem is to get Pakistan and India and other countries in the region to join us, to get the warring parties together to have a workable government that will not allow for terrorist organizations to find safe haven in that country. That's achievable, but it's achievable through hard work and diplomacy, not through American troop presence.
So the president did something we almost never see him do yesterday. Yesterday, he admitted that he went into the office with one idea, that they needed to pull everything out of Afghanistan immediately. After all, he had tweeted about that sort of thing for years. And he said that when you become president, you realize that certain things are not as easy as they appear. He changed his mind and ended up listening to his generals and ultimately, it seems, sending more troops to Afghanistan. Were you surprised to hear the president admit that he changed his mind?
Well, it was refreshing to hear him say that. And of course, we do want him to rely upon the advice he's getting from all sources, not just from our generals, but from our experts in the State Department. We want him to take that advice. We want him to meet with members of Congress and to take our advice on what is happening, that we can work together. That's what we want to see. We want to see the president act presidential, and that is take all the best information he has and make the right judgment for our country, and not be committed just because he said something during the campaign that may not work now. So that's a healthy sign for the president to change his mind, to do what is in the best interest of this country, even if it's inconsistent with his campaign statements.
He also said we're not in the business of nation building any longer. We are going to be killing terrorists. Do you believe that that's the right approach?
No, I don't. It's not that we want to build a nation of Afghanistan that looks like a Western democracy. What we want to do is help the Afghan people develop a government that's honest, that can control violence, that will avoid terrorists being able to operate in their country. That requires us to participate with the global community, international community, in development assistance and in programs that can help that country achieve those objectives. So I think it's important for the United States to participate in those programs, and it's in our national defense to do that.
Does this administration have the credibility to get others involved in that way?
Well, when you take a look at their FY18 budget requests, it's hard to see how they do have credibility on this issue, because they are cutting most of these programs that are essential for peace in Afghanistan. So the president has been challenged because of a lot of the statements that he's made and because of his actions in presenting this year's budget.
Senator Ben Cardin, thank you very much for joining us, sir.
Thank you. It's good to be with you.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.